Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm Dr. Nik Nikam, and you can watch this on YouTube, which is being live video streamed, or you can also watch us by downloading our app for Android or Apple devices. The app name is NNN Media. So we are talking about hypnosis and how it can help you in your daily life. And my special guest, as I said, is Yuvraj Kapadia. Mr. Kapadia, we were just talking about your introduction. Go ahead, please.
Yes. So, as I said, basic training in microbiology, a
Yeah,
graduation in evidence to boot, and since the last decade or so, into both practicing and teaching clinical hypnotherapy.
that's fascinating. For the benefit of listeners who are learning hypnosis for the first time or hearing, let's talk about what is the definition of hypnosis.
Sure. If the best way to introduce this would be to take a recourse to its origin, the term
Yeah.
hypnosis. It comes from a Greek word called hypnos.
Mhm.
The term hypnosis itself was coined by an English physician, a doctor by the name of James Braid. What the term actually means is nervous sleep. Now, nervous sleep by itself is a paradox because when you are sleeping, you are absolutely unaware, and when you are nervous, you are actually very aware.
Wide
So,
awake.
hypnosis, yes, hypnosis is a state in which we combine both these apparently paradoxical spaces where the body goes to sleep, but the mind is alert, aware, and quite awake.
Okay, that's fascinating. What is the central theory upon which hypnosis is based?
Okay, so as human beings, we operate on two levels of awareness. One, which is our conscious awareness, which we are very aware about every time we wake up in the morning, and that stays with us throughout the day.
Yeah.
All the conscious choices that we make, the kind of thoughts that we process, the emotions that we feel, the decisions that we take, the actions that we implement in our life, all this comes from our conscious awareness.
Yeah.
A lot of that conscious will also influences our body movements. For example, your decision to talk to me right now
Yes.
is a conscious choice. Your moving of your left hand is a conscious effort. So all these things are conscious programming, voluntary programming. However, the interesting aspect is life itself
Yeah.
is completely being programmed or being run by something that is apparently not conscious. So, for example, your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your pulse rate, your peristaltic movement, everything that your body requires to stay alive physiologically is in the grip of something that is unconscious or subconscious. Hypnosis aims to bridge both these states into a common platform where you can get a conscious inkling of what's happening deep down inside your system.
That's fascinating. You know, I'm a cardiologist, and of course, we use the term autonomic nervous system that controls all the things that you talked about: heart rate, respirations, blood pressure, peristaltic movement of the bowels, and a lot of other things inside the body in terms of maintaining volume and things like that. So, this is run by the autonomic nervous system. So, in other words, from what I understand, hypnosis is an art and a science of getting control over these autonomic nervous functions, which we normally don't have control over. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That is a fairly decent assumption. It's not
Yeah.
entirely off track. The autonomic nervous system physiologically is controlled by the fight-flight response in the body.
Yeah.
It's a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
The sympathetic nervous system kicks in whenever we have stress or anxiety, and it pushes our body towards a heightened degree of functioning.
Yeah.
Your heartbeat starts beating a little quicker, you get blood being pumped, oxygen, hyperventilation. You are a doctor, you know the ropes.
Yeah.
And this pretty much heightened state of performance stays till the crisis is over. This is also what athletes induce when they are giving peak performance in life. Corporates use a little bit of healthy stress to get an employee into peak performance. This whole peak performance induces the sympathetic nervous system. parasympathetic nervous system that kicks in once the stress is over, slowly turns back to a homeostatic state. Hypnosis utilizes this whole curve.
Nice. Yeah.
So when we start the trance process, we induce the sympathetic nervous system. It reaches a flash point, and then it's a deeply relaxed trance state, which is the parasympathetic, allowing us a non-threatening access to the inner workings of the subconscious mind.
So it's almost like computer hacking because I was watching some of those videos last night. Huh?
Well, it's a willful entry point
Yeah,
into something you thought you couldn't do.
that's right. Yeah. So yeah, how long hypnosis has been in existence, and is this a Western phenomenon, or did this originate somewhere in Europe or India or where?
Okay. So the earliest records actually go down to probably 4000 odd BC. So we're
Yeah.
now back to Mesopotamia, we're
Yeah.
back to Babylon, the really very, very primal civilizations, where there are paintings, there are very clear-cut evidence of the fact that hypnosis was hugely used. Of course, what we must keep in mind
Yeah.
that the fine line of distinction between healthcare, religion, spirituality was mired into one larger unknown force. So in those days, it's mostly the priests
Yeah.
and the medicine men, so-called medicine
I
men,
see. Yes.
who would use this heightened spiritual base to induce what was known as miracle healing. So you surrendered to a larger power, which we now understand was the subconscious mind, and you actually felt that there was a miracle happening. You took in suggestions into that mind in the terms of a larger power, and then your mind went through a change, your body recovered, and you came out saying you've been touched by something much larger than life.
That's fascinating. So I guess it started on a spiritual level, but it has scientifically evolved to a large extent in the modern
That's right.
days.
In fact, if we look at this more from a medical perspective,
Yeah.
purely medical perspective, we realize that the human brain has actually doubled in size every million years or less. So from a very, very primal brain
Yeah.
with a minimalistic of 320 neurons that you get even now in a roundworm,
Yeah.
to the 86 billion neurons that we now have, has largely been the development of the frontal cortex of the human brain, through which we get cognition of senses.
I see.
Now, in this whole journey, since initially in primal man, the number of neurons in the brain was extremely limited, the only awareness you had
Yeah.
was of your own body functions, which is typically what we call as instinctive living or instinctual living. You were driven by instinct, whether you were hungry or you needed to sleep. And then as the neurons started to grow,
Yeah.
slowly there was much more cognition of the senses. And now when man started observing the universe around him and the world around him, he figured out that there were many things that were happening that he couldn't control. For example, the seasons,
Yes.
the sight, the moon, the flowering, the fruits, so many things in nature that were outside the purview of his conscious cognitive control, which led to the obvious assumption that there is a power that is bigger than him that is controlling the whole cycle of life and death.
Yeah.
And as humans, we all like to live a good life.
Yeah.
So if it is a power, I would love to be in the good books of that power, which is again common sense.
That's fascinating. So let's get a little deeper into hypnosis. And of course, hypnosis always gets deeper than the superficial level. But let's get deeper and try to analyze this, how it would be helpful for a common man on an everyday basis. Let's start off with maybe you're too close to the camera, I guess. That's why your face, I guess the lights. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's start off with how is hypnosis induced?
Okay, all right. So when we look at the human mind, which we see as the software operating the body or the invisible body by itself, we have a conscious mind through which we think, process, logic, analyze, feel. We have a subconscious mind, which is our database, our storage base.
Yes.
And that is about 6,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind. So in between those two states is our filter of judgment, which we call the critical mind.
Yeah.
And that's the mind that judges everything that happens to us vis-a-vis our programming. In hypnosis, we overload the mind with message units. It would be like overloading a computer system.
Yes.
So that at one point of time, that critical filter that is separating your conscious and subconscious awareness is blasted open more or less. And that gets a synergy between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious becomes aware of what the subconscious is holding. So in an absolutely common sense approach, hypnosis would be a process in which we got the conscious and the subconscious mind aligned to focus on the same objective.
So aligned to your commands, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it basically is a state in which we first cognitively check with the client what he or she requires out of the session. So there's a contract. The client is absolutely aware of the contract, and using that willful awareness is where we get into that space of
Okay.
alignment.
Now you said you're getting willful permission to their subconscious mind, and then you're able to make suggestions and get desired results. Let's analyze and say, are there variations of hypnosis that some people can be easily hypnotized, while others you can pour a bucket of water, nothing is going to happen?
All right. So we've touched on two subjects linked in one question.
Yes.
So let me segregate both. So broadly speaking, worldwide, there are two schools of hypnosis. One is the Western school, which is the one that we practice, discuss, and is used for healthcare and other reasons for the benefit of mankind. In which we do not override the will of a human. We engage it willfully into exploring and empowering its own self. That's the Western approach. There is another school, that's the Eastern approach, in which it's possible to hypnotize a person against his or her will. That's also what is used, for example, sometimes in stage hypnosis. But then it has very, very limited therapeutic value. So we don't really go there. So we start with this distinction very clearly. Now, as far as our school is concerned and the approach that we follow is concerned, which is a willful process, we don't work with people who do not wish to be hypnotized. That's very clear. Because it's not a challenge. It's not about something I can do and you will submit to my will. It is about creating a safe space in which I can assist you in getting where you want to go.
Yeah, see, that's the main thing, because if people are coming to seek some kind of help, I think they are more willing to try out something than somebody sitting in an audience. He says, you do whatever you want. I'm not going to be moved, something like that. Okay. Now we said, so you're getting hold of the subconscious mind and trying to make some meaningful help for that individual. Are there different depths of hypnosis?
Yes, sir. There are different depths of hypnosis. The shallowest layer of hypnosis is a state that gets accessed naturally when you watch television for more than a minute, for example. Which is one of the reasons why advertising on television or on prime time is such an expensive affair. Just because it's a mild trance state, you've got your senses engaged by message units through the audio-video mechanism. And it's very easy to advertise your products in that space so that your subconscious mind would take it in and actually respond without questioning the logical aspect of what the advertisement was trying to put out. Okay, that's a very mild trance state. It's not therapeutic, and it's something that you can snap out of on your own. It's called the hypnoidal state of trance. Beyond that, we move slightly deeper. Physiologically, in the next state of hypnosis, which is cataleptic, your eyeballs are moving sideways. You're about to go in deeper. You're not completely in there, but it's a deeper state than the first one. For therapy purposes, we go into stage 3. That's called the somnambulistic state, in which your eyeballs have rolled up, which is why your body goes to sleep. But the mind is open and
Yeah.
awake. And then we have a dialogue and we see what we need to.
I hope my eyes don't roll up because I need to, this is fascinating
No, we
discussion.
will ensure
I need to
that
stay
we
awake till
stay
the end of the
focused.
presentation. Okay, let's talk about somebody comes to your office for consultation, and
Yes.
then you discuss. Then you want to induce hypnosis. Walk us through what happens during a hypnosis session.
Okay. So if people have never been hypnotized before, I first explain to them probably briefly about how the mind works. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
That by itself is extremely therapeutic because the moment they figure out that there is a subconscious mind that's 6,000 times bigger, and that's the space where they get all the logical answers for the most illogical situations in their life. What boggles the human mind and the human processing is
Yeah.
they find life is not fair, life
Yeah.
is not logical, life is not correct. But life is the fairest and most logical game that you are playing with yourself across time and space. So when I explain the model of the mind to them, there are a lot of aha moments that just happen spontaneously in a very cognitive state.
Yeah.
It also prepares them to move into a deeper state with courage,
Yeah.
with confidence, because they now know a little bit of where they are going. It's not a dark, unknown space anymore.
Yeah.
Beyond that, when they come on my couch, where I actually start getting them into the process, I explain to them that it's not what they've seen on magic shows or on stage hypnosis,
Yeah.
where they're going to forget what's happened. We're moving into a state where the body is going to go to sleep, so they won't be able to open their eyes.
I see.
However, mentally they will be very present. They will be able to hear what I'm saying, and then we will have a meaningful detective inquiry. Because before we just give suggestions for healing,
Yes.
we also wish to find out why things went wrong and which is in your history,
Yeah.
and then see what to do to cathartize the emotions, etc., and set things right through suggestions. So once they actually get in,
Yeah.
initially for the first 2 or 3 minutes, their heartbeat is beating a little quicker. It moves from, let's say, 72 beats a minute to about 85. And by the time they're in a deeply relaxed state, we've got the heartbeat at about 55 to 60,
I see.
maybe a little lower. And in that relaxed space is where the whole therapy process actually starts.
That,
Now,
that-
therapy could either be detective work to find out the cause of the breakdown, and then, of course, it could also be restorative work, which is correcting what has happened.
That's fair. Yeah, we're going to get into some of the common diseases where hypnosis would be quite useful in helping patients. Let's talk about, in modern medicine, like I'm a cardiologist, and we sit down and we take 30 minutes history about what happened to their past, how many times they've been in the hospital, how many times they had a heart attack, things like that. How much patient interaction is involved in hypnosis? Because if you talk to an Ayurvedic doctor, they say they don't want any history. They just want to go and check the pulse, and they start with the pulse, and then they're telling them, okay, this is what you have. I know that because I had Ayurvedic doctors on my radio program.
Okay, all right. So the model that hypnotherapy follows is the simple dictum that the body belongs to the here and now. The body doesn't understand time other than the fact that it's present right here. Ideally, if the mind is also present right here, you are in integral consciousness, which means you will not fall sick. So
Yeah.
if you are 50 years old and your mind running the body is 50 years old, you are going to be a healthy, happy 50-year-old human.
I see.
Now, when a dichotomy comes in that state,
Yeah.
when the mind running the body does not belong to the here and now,
Yeah.
is when we start having breakdowns in the system. My job as a therapist then is to find out which mind is this
Yeah.
and where has it come from. Most of the times it goes back to childhood issues, things that you felt, concluded, repressed in your body from that moment. Sometimes it goes into altered states of awareness beyond that, but that's our job. So we get in there to find out which mind was running the body, we heal it, we give it peace, we cathartize the emotions, and then we suggest the mind of today to take
Yeah.
charge once again, which is wholesomeness.
And quite often we hear people say that well, they don't remember whatever happened during the session. Is that good, bad, or doesn't
Well,
matter?
the whole idea is needs to heal or recover is the conscious mind, is the conscious awareness.
Yes, yes.
Which means we are actually getting clients into an elliptical state of awareness. There's a part of them that is aware that they are present here and now in the clinic. But there's another part of them that's reliving what happened back then.
Many years ago, I see, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so you answered my question. One is, you're communicating with the conscious and the subconscious mind at the same time, and how do these suggestions to the subconscious mind transform changes? Because if they have like fear of heights or fear of public speaking, things like that, how your suggestions would transform these things.
Okay. So before we actually suggest, we make sure that we cathartize the emotion. Because the emotion is eventually stuck in the body. It's in the muscles, it's in the organs. So unless that is released from the system, we can't simply superimpose suggestions on top. So when we go back in time, we first do detective work. We discover where the fear came from. Why did it come in? Once that is clear, then the adult of today understands that, all right, so I now have this fear because 41 years back in class, this is what my teacher said, and I succumbed to it because I wasn't present there. Now, once that's clear, we cathartize through the body the emotions and conclusions that were felt at that time. Once that is clear, the adult is now very receptive through suggestions to take charge of the system once again, which is from where confidence, etc., comes back.
How long does it take to cathartize these thoughts and emotions, like fear of public speaking or heights or gatherings, crowd?
Yeah, in something like this is a single session.
I see, yeah.
These are single session. Whatever you've said so far is pretty much one session. If we look at much deeper issues of life, then maybe 2 or 3 sessions.
So, okay, now you're done with your hypnotic session and also, how do you get them out of hypnosis?
Okay, all right. So just like we counted them into the trance, we reverse the process, because what the mind can create, it can always uncreate. So we simply, through our words and suggestions, get them to gather all their parts back from wherever they went, bring it back in the here and now, and then count them out of the trance into full conscious cognitive awareness once again.
Okay, once we have worked on a particular problem, do we see immediate results, or does it take time for the brain to kind of, I would say, maybe reprogram itself?
Okay, so physiologically, the human system operates on what we call as neuropathways.
Yes.
And these are formed in the human body physiologically in about 21 days. So everything that you do, for example, for 21 days becomes a habit till you can do it autonomically or unconsciously. Which means when we do a session, we put into place the seeds of the new neuro pathway.
I see.
And after that, we also teach clients self-hypnosis about how over the next 21 days they can go into that trance state by themselves and reinforce the formation of that habit. So what you do see is a change that is virtually long-lasting beyond 3 weeks. They come out of the chair feeling great. We teach them techniques to superimpose and anchor that great feeling continuously over 3 weeks till they don't need to focus on it anymore, and it becomes a part and parcel of their attitude and their character.
That's fascinating. What are the chances of recurrence of some of these conditions that you commonly work? Of course, we're going to get into more detail about the individual situations.
Okay, so that would just depend on the degree of efficacy with which the therapist has worked. So if you've really gone in deep with a good vacuum cleaner and you've scanned time and space continuums and made sure that everything that was contributing to the phenomena has been suitably addressed, it shouldn't recur again. It doesn't. But then, well, sometimes if you don't do that completely, it can come back. And that also is because of the homeostatic nature of the human individual. there is always a tendency to go back to the original state.
I see. Yes.
It's just part of the human consciousness.
Yeah.
So what we've got to do through therapy is bring a change in the homeostatic state.
I think the
That is what people do.
human mind and body seeks the path of least resistance.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about some of the common conditions for which people come to you seeking help through hypnosis.
Okay. So from whatever enhanced awareness is there at the moment, people mostly associate hypnosis with issues related just to the mind.
Yes.
Which means things like I want to quit smoking, or confidence, I can't speak well in public, or I have a certain fear. This used to be the bread and butter business for hypnotherapists many years back.
I see, yes.
Over a period of time, with the whole self-help industry really progressing in the world, we now have people coming for hypnotherapy, relationship issues, counseling issues, family issues. And in the last 5 to 7 years, even the whole paradigm of physical issues has hugely entered the zone. So we have people coming with skin disorders, with cancer, with heart ailments, things where allopathy has walked a distance, has probably brought a result, but either the situation has come back, it's not gone fully. So they want to explore something beyond what the chemical can do to their body. So we are also now dealing with the whole gamut in conjunction with the medical approach, with a whole lot of physical issues, unexplained aches, pains, psoriasis, eczema, heart blocks, cancers, you can name it.
So let's talk about a specific entity, for example, smoking cessation or fear of heights, something like that.
Yes.
How would you approach this particular entity in a given individual?
Sure. So let's say somebody's coming with a certain fear.
Yes.
Okay. So the difference, of course, between a fear and a phobia is that a fear always has a memory that the person is in touch with. They know exactly from where it began. In a phobia, that memory is not there, which means it normally starts from a beyond time, beyond space boundary. Now, once they have a clear memory of where the fear came from, we also check what they would now like to feel in terms of the same trigger. So let's say, for example, I was very fine with dogs, till one dog bit me, and then I am now very wary of the whole dog story. But I would love to get back into a space where I can have a pet once again. So I locate what is the new emotion they would like to feel. I get that cognitively first in the awareness.
Yes.
Then I use the trance state. We actually go back into time, into where the fear emerged for the first time, which is the first dog bite. We use the body processes to bring the fear up in the body fully, 100%. And there are idiomotor responses of the body that can be used to map that. And then over a suggestive process, keep reducing the fear gradually in the same session till it's gone off fully, where they can process the same event in their mind with nothing happening to their heart and nothing happening to their breathing and nothing happening to the pulse rate. And then to seal the deal, so as to speak, we bring up the new emotion from another event, maybe calmness, peace, joy, whatever you want to feel, and put it into this program and build a fresh association. So the next time they see a dog, the only feeling in the heart is love and joy, and they've got the courage back to go and pat it and sit with it, and then the issue is over.
It's almost like surgery. You take out the bad disease part of the thought process, then you patch it with a more pleasant.
Yes, it is a mind surgery or an emotional surgery of sorts.
This is fascinating. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's talk about. We have the term self-hypnosis. Maybe you can expand on that one.
Sure. Self-hypnosis is perhaps a more precise scientific way of meditation. Let's put it that way. So meditation is very common of late. There are many cultures, many people in the world. There are so many new age gurus who are right out there, and it does some amazing work for people. So meditation is a state in which you are accessing the subconscious mind.
Yes.
Okay. Now, self-hypnosis is akin to that. Probably the model that I'd like to use is that
Yeah.
of swimming. So when you go to a swimming pool, you can jump into the pool from the side of the pool
Mm-hmm.
and then work your way towards the deeper depths of the pool. Or you could choose a diving board, go up a certain height, and then jump down and go deep very fast.
I see.
Jumping into the side, into the pool from the side, is meditation.
I
So you're
see.
starting from a homeostatic state and working your way inside. With hypnosis, we're going up the diving board and jumping down into the same pool. So it gets you into a deeper state scientifically with precision.
And quicker.
And it can be learned and practiced by yourself, for a variety of great reasons in
Yeah.
life.
Can we be getting hypnotized by people around us without even our knowledge?
Honestly speaking, this happens to you when you're born. Because
Yeah.
everybody, culture, your society, your parents.
That's what I was going to come. Parents with
They
children
all want
or
you to
some teachers.
They all want you to behave in a way they would like you to behave.
Yes.
So hypnosis happens to you from the time you are born. It's
I
just
see.
going. It's an ongoing
Yeah.
process. You're born in a hypnotic world.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, hypnosis is only about changing belief systems. We are professional belief system enhancers.
I see. Yeah.
So everything around you is trying to influence your belief system. So you are in a certain way combating or living with hypnosis 24/7 into 365.
That's fascinating. And okay, let's talk about. We talked about parents getting. What about at workplace? Do we need permission from our patients before we can make hypnotic suggestions? And if that's what we are using to help patients in any way or form?
When we talk of the workplace, if you're talking, let's say, a corporate, let's
Yeah.
look at workplace from a corporate perspective. Well, the corporate has an objective, and the objective is profit for itself and joy and growth for the employees. Every corporate wants that. Which means when there is a corporate training program, at a different level all use things that get into the subconscious mind.
I see.
It's worded differently. It's projected differently. Like for example, a technique that's virtually born out of hypnosis is called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming.
Yes.
Yeah, it was founded by two people who were both professional hypnotherapists practicing hypnosis for many years.
Yeah.
Till for a certain period of time, hypnosis couldn't be practiced.
Yeah.
So they came out with this revolutionary breakthrough of using the same process, but the other way around. So hypnosis is go in there, shift something so that the behavior changes outside.
Yeah.
NLP is change the behavior outside and something inside will change. So it's just the same track playing the other way around. In the corporate world, NLP, for example, is much more popular because they use the hypnotic state but reverse through cognitive behavioral changes at the outside so that something inside will shift.
Oh, I see. So,
when it comes to the more conventional healthcare, so when we talk of mind care or body care, there, of course, the situation is like how it is for a consultant, where you sit, you discuss, you have their will on your side, and then you take them through a process.
So, in other words, can a medical profession or a healthcare provider give hypnotherapy without the patient's consent? Or is it just part of the medical advice that we do and there's really no clear-cut demarcation?
Okay. Well, ethics would say and dictate that you should definitely 100% be in sync with your patients. You have to inform them about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to check whether they will be comfortable with the process, and if they are, you engage in it. Otherwise, you cross a boundary, which a good professional should not be doing.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Okay. We talked about parents and where children are being hypnotized, I should say, and maybe you can tell us just a little bit about. I know we deal with the professional hypnotherapy for enhancing people's performance and also helping them with some of their habits, things and like that. Let's talk about some stage hypnosis just for the fun of it.
Okay. So stage hypnosis is something that I have experienced seeing in the audience
Yeah.
on the other side of it, because all magicians use illusion and stage hypnosis.
Yes.
It's not my specific area of expertise.
Yeah.
I understand how it works because it bypasses the human will hugely.
I
But
see.
even there, if you do note, the magician or stage hypnotist would ask for volunteers.
Yes.
Now, the moment somebody volunteers, there is already a willful acceptance of going in there.
I
Now,
see.
you may even try to do this saying that I'm going to show this guy that this is not going to work on me.
I see.
So
Yeah.
I'm engaging in it just to prove
Challenge.
that it will not work.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that even if you are going through voluntary denial, there's another part of you that is already in it by your own willful admission of raising your hand.
I see. Yeah.
And this is exactly what the hypnotist needs to be able to access your subconscious space.
I see.
So, for
Yeah.
example, if you just sat passively in the audience
Yeah.
and never responded to saying, okay, who would like to get hypnotized? And you just sat there very quietly, you would be able to see through it. Because the fact that you bought a ticket and you went into the hall indicates a little bit of involvement.
Inclination.
It's
Yeah.
all about will,
Yeah.
conscious and unconscious, conscious and unconscious.
That is so. Yeah. Oh, okay. How long does it take for somebody to learn the art of hypnosis, and what kind of background do they need in order to learn hypnosis, either to for themselves or to be a therapist?
Okay, so different schools of hypnotherapy have different programs. We follow an integrated approach where we do have a focus on thoughts, emotions, energies, physical body. It's a comprehensive program. The programs we offer are a 5-module program that goes on for about 26 days, and it's a 9 to 6 training. People can just learn hypnosis in 4 hours
I
if
see.
it is just about learning hypnosis. But if you're trying to utilize it for deeper reasons, for therapy, for healthcare, then obviously there is some amount of professional excellence that has to come into the process, and that has to be mapped, learned, and monitored.
Yeah.
Who can learn it? Well, anybody who is fine with language, because what we need is cognition of the mind and
Yes.
fluency on the spoken word. So, yes, if you are from a medical background, a paramedical background, a psychology student, it helps to a great
Yeah.
extent. But it's not in our school a prerequisite to get there. You could be from any background, but you have this inner calling that says, well, I think it's now time that I began to give back to people. I gave back to society.
Yeah.
I've lived a good life. I want to contribute back. I wish to assist in healing. Yes, we've had a lot of people who come like that too.
That's interesting. Okay, let's talk about, we hear all the time highway hypnosis. And what is it? Is it something good, bad, or indifferent, or what people need to
Okay,
do?
again, just as everything is polarized into duality,
Yeah.
you have the Western model of highway hypnosis, in which, let's say, there's a car that's met with an accident, just
Yeah.
for example, and there's somebody injured there and is in a lot of pain. Now, if you were crossing that place and you had knowledge of hypnotherapy and you decided to help or do something about it, you could just go in there and almost, maybe in less than half a minute or 15 seconds, put the person into a pain-free state.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You went into a shock induction, and then there would be no pain in the system, which would absolutely make the person's journey to the hospital much more comfortable to a certain extent. Also, you could start suggesting to the body and to the whole response process to look after itself till you got to a professional healthcare facility.
Mhm.
So it's not a replacement for conventional professional healthcare.
Yes.
It's a complementary approach that
Complementary.
could make professional healthcare sharper and more effective. On the flip side of it, on the Eastern model way, which is highway hypnosis, where you can hypnotize people and strip them of whatever they have.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that on the road, you can do that in the train, but that's an area of work where we don't go into, because that's, it's like you learn the medical profession to help people.
Yes.
You do surgeries to assist them to come back to wholesome health. But then there are always rogue elements that would do surgeries just so that they can extract organs and engage in a organ trade kind of story.
Yeah.
So it's the flip side of it. where you don't want to go because you are a professional with a different focus.
Oh, okay, yeah. When I was talking about highway hypnosis, there's another one condition which I was
Yeah,
trying to get a little more insight. Is that is like you may be driving the same path 25
that is
miles every day, but on a
yes,
particular
yes,
day you're driving there, and 20
yes,
miles you don't even remember seeing
correct,
anything that you have been seeing for years.
correct.
And what
So
happens to the
yes,
mind in those
that's right.
situations?
That's right. So, which is why, for example, if you are going for a long drive, it may make sense to have water or some sweets with you, simply because as you start moving at a certain speed in cruise control,
Yes.
you slip into a hypnotic trance very easily.
Hmm.
Now, when that happens, it's a pleasant absence in the body. It's
Yeah,
pleasant. The body's on autopilot and you're absent.
I see.
Now, what this would do is sometimes impair the reaction time that you would require to respond to an instant crisis on the road. So somebody just crosses the road in a last flash, but you are in that trancey state, and then the consequences are not great.
Yeah.
Which is why when you drive, it's wise to keep dehypnotizing yourself through either drinking water or sucking a sweet or something like that, just because you will not be able to swallow food or drink water in a hypnotic state.
I see.
You've impaired the peristaltic movement. So the easiest way to not get into that state is to engage in something that keeps you in the body.
What about music? Would that keep them awake?
Well, music again has a two-way story,
I see.
because it can keep you awake and it can also induce a lovely trance.
Mm.
So you play your favorite music, you have your favorite band, that's playing, car is on cruise control, and you're just going on and on and on. Uh, Great side of it, makes the drive fun. A little bit of danger.
I see. Yeah.
On a bad day, it can be bad.
Okay, let's talk about your upcoming seminar here in Houston, where you're going to be training program for people in Houston area. So let's talk about that. What can
Yes.
people expect?
All right. So this is largely happening through um, a person based in Houston.
Yes.
His name is Satish Verma.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, and I know him very
Yeah.
well.
So I've interacted with him and his family pretty closely.
Yeah.
He's done the level 1 of my program in Spain last year, and that's when he decided that this would be something he would love to bring to the US. Now, in the complete curriculum, we have 5 modules, so I am visiting Houston in October
Yes.
with a proposal to hold the first 3 modules together, which is approximately a 12-day training program. Followed up with another visit maybe in April next year, where we conclude the curriculum.
I see.
So, in a total training of 26 days, we're hoping to bring to the people of Houston and the larger population of the US something that I learned from a teacher who was based in the US.
Mhm.
I added my own 2-bit of esoteric Eastern mysticism to it and made it an integrated model that I bring back to the land that taught me this.
It's fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Nik Nikam Network Talk Show, coming to you live from Houston. It's also being live video streamed to YouTube. You can download our app, NNN Medium, and follow us 24/7 wherever you are, and follow all our talk shows and previously recorded videos. And my special guest has been Yuvraj Kapadia, who is a certified hypnotherapist. So we talked about hypnotherapy and how you can use it in your daily life. And in fact, he's going to be here in Houston in October, and he's going to give a training program in Houston. And stay tuned, and we will be getting you more information on that. Any final thoughts, Mr. Yuvraj Kapadia, about hypnosis and to the Houston audience?
Yes. So basically, just maybe one last word on this. In the US, hypnotherapy is a very, very regularized
Mhm.
and professionally acceptable legal approach to healthcare.
Yeah.
And we are affiliated to the largest body of professional hypnotherapy associations in the US, which is the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. Our school is accredited by them, and our curriculum is accredited by them, which means people going through the course have professional access to legally practicing this science in the US.
I see.
Now,
Yes.
there can be no better thing in the world than to be engaged in a profession that you could enjoy for yourself personally. You could benefit out of it for yourself as a human. You could make your own life great. And in
Yeah.
the bargain, the spin-off is other people's lives improve and you get paid for it. So that's a lovely win-win situation, and I'd probably want to sign off with that thought.
Yeah. Okay, with that, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Kapadia, and we'll be looking forward to your visit here in October in Houston. And in the meantime, I will see you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.